This video I find to be the perfect video for me to explain my 5 rules to avoiding a gunfight. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and press play. I'm going to pause in certain parts or whatever. But my 5 steps, like this was done very poorly. This was done extremely poorly, in my opinion. And I'll explain why. All right. So this guy comes in, is coming into a pawn shop, supposedly to look at AR-15s to purchase. Now, watch.
Let's go back and learn some lessons on this one. And that first one is just, these things come out of the blue sometimes, friends. This guy's at a pawn shop. Guy asked to see an AR-15. Of course, they're going to give him, and let him see that or whatever. Now, you might have said, well, he could take the bolt out or whatever. But, I look at guns all the time in gun stores, and this is...
Okay, look. He went to look at this AR. I hand him the AR. I've worked at a gun store, okay, for several years. He wants to look at an AR. I hand him the AR. I don't even like them taking the thing apart, but I don't care. It's not a big of a deal. He takes it apart just to look at it. It really isn't a big deal, honestly. I do know certain stores, they won't even let you field strip a Glock. Like some places don't like that. Some places don't care. Now, as he's holding the rifle, now he's got his hand behind his back. That's not normal to me. Some of you guys may say, oh, well, some people just stand like that. Yeah, that's cool. This guy's holding a gun, though. And this is where these rules come in. Okay. Defensive profiling. It's number 1. That's my number 1 rule. Kinda. My number 1 rule is defensive profiling. The first thing you do is defensive profiling. Now, when he first walked in the door, it's not like he looks like he's going to do something wrong, right? He doesn't look like he's a psychotic maniac. There's no way to tell that. So you've done your defensive profiling, you're checking them out, and you always stay checking somebody out. You don't ever let that leave, right? And when he's hand him the gun, he's looking at it, you're still defensive profiling. That never goes away. Now he's put his hand behind his back, and my defensive profiling alert goes up. Why is his hand behind his back? That just makes my defensive profiling go up. That's all. I'm not saying I'm drawing the gun on him right now. I'm just saying that defensive profiling, that's just weird. Okay, number 2 is put yourself in the most ready position without escalating the situation. Now, there's no need for that just yet. Okay. So right now we're still at profiling. Okay.
Just what we do. But now this guy starts acting funky. And when you start seeing that active weirdness and he puts a magazine
at right there, when that magazine comes from around his back, things are happening very fast. Remember the video I talked about being like water? In my own 5 steps to avoiding a gunfight, something has changed a bit here. It's not changed in that the routine, like the number 1, the number 2, the number 3 are out of place, but that it has sped up so fast that number 1 and number 2, I mean, it's immediate. It's immediate. You got number 1, you got number 2, which you put yourself in the most ready position without escalating the situation. Once I seen that mag come from around, I'm dropping my hand as close to my gun as possible. That's putting myself in the most ready situation the most ready position without escalating the situation. When he throws the mag in the gun, I go from 1 to 2 to 3 in a split second. Defensive profiling, his hands behind his back. He swings around with the mag. Put myself in the most ready position without escalating the situation. He puts the mag in the gun. I am at 3 that fast, which is take control of the situation. To take control of the situation, I must now draw my firearm, and I don't even have to point it at him, but I'm going to draw my fire. I'm going to take my firearm out of the holster and say, sir, I need you to take that magazine out of that firearm. There's no negotiating. Take the mag out of the firearm now. Okay?
In the rifle, and you see a loaded magazine go into the rifle, and the employee.
Do you see that? He didn't just put it in there. He smacked it in there. Now his arm is over there by the charging handle. Listen to me. This is now the situation. I have not taken control of the situation yet. We're not going on to de-escalate the situation. I need to take control of the situation. Until he takes that mag out, I don't have control. So I'm still at number 3. Now, you can say that you can do number 3 and number 4 at the same time. This is the water. This is the water. Because I want to both take control of the situation and de-escalate the situation at the same time. Hey, sir, I need you to take that magazine out of, look, we do not want any trouble. We don't want any problems, sir. Just take the magazine back out of the AR and go on about your business, sir. Go on about your business. You have a good day. I'm doing both. But understand that number 3 is more important than number 4. It's more important that I take control than it is that I de-escalate the situation. This is not a talking matter. You could possibly take my life into the movements you're making. I need control right now. So
he's now pointing a hand at him and saying, don't do that. Now, you got to decide at what point we are talking about a deadly threat here. Guy loads a mag.
Come on, man. At what point are we talking about a deadly threat? You put the mag in there. You have positioned the firearm with your hand as if you are about to charge the weapon. He's pointing saying, don't do this. No, buddy. There should be a Glock pointed at his chest. If you don't put your Kimber Custom 2 and aim it at his heart, you playing with your own life. This is not the no. This is being done very, very, very wrong. Okay?
Magazine in the rifle, and you say, hey, put that down. You don't put that magazine in the rifle, and he does. You can say, hey, wait a minute, things went really south here. But you got to ask from an employee's perspective, mentally unprepared for this. Would this have been the time to draw your gun? Well, I mean, his rifle's not
yes.
chambered yet, so you got at least enough time to get your gun up and in the fight. But
I don't know. He can be quiet too. No. The answer is exactly what I just said. Now you see how he's got the gun pointed? Like, you're not listening to me now. So I still don't have control of the situation. So I'm going to do 3 and 4 at the same time. But sir, I need you to put that gun down. This is not a negotiation. Take the mag out. Matter of fact, take the mag out of the gun. Drop the gun. Drop the gun now. Because I'll come around the counter and I'll take the mag out of the gun. Hell, you can have your mag. I'll throw it back to you. And then you can get the hell out of my shop. But you're not pointing it. Why is there not a gun drawn right now? That's crazy to me. Number one, defensive profiling. He didn't look crazy. He came in here, everything looked fine. He looked at the gun. He then put his hand behind his back, and he was there for a little too long. Profiling, my sensors are going up. Number two, put yourself in the most ready position without escalating the situation. My hand, as I see that hand come around, my hand is going to be very, very close to my gun. Not that I'm going to have my hand on the grip of my gun necessarily, because that could escalate the situation. But I'm going to have my hand right there where my gun is at, just hanging right there so that my draw is that fast. You throw the mag inside, it is now time to take control of the situation. I am now drawing my gun, and I have it either just drawn and pointed at the ground, making demands. Depending on your reply, I may then point the gun at your chest. When he brought his hand back towards the charging handle, now there's no ifs, ands, or buts. The gun is now pointed at you. Put the gun down. You now back up. You got the gun pointed in the air. I got both hands on my gun, and I am demanding you drop this gun right now. Let's watch the rest of it.
But, they're sitting here and having an argument about it. So now, though, when he chambers that rifle, you got to know that you got a fight on your hands, that it's time to...
You are wrong, sir. Now, usually I like what he says. Usually he makes a lot of sense on what you should and should not. No. Your gun should have been drawn and aimed at that man before he went back there and charged the gun and start backing up. Now you are in the worst situation you can possibly be in. If this man now wants to have a shootout with you, you're probably going to lose. You want to be real? You're probably going to lose. You have now given your life away. You tossed your life. So, take control of the situation, de-escalate the situation. Number 5 is a rule that floats. It includes being water, right? Which is, get out of there. Certain situations, as you're going through these first things first, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, defensive profiling, put yourself in the most ready position without escalating the situation. When you're going through these, number 5 can happen at any point in time. It could happen before number 1 happens. Okay. If you're in certain situations, if you can get out of there, get the hell out of there. Don't stand around for a gunfight. It's not your job to be Superman. Get out of there. In this situation, it's different. This is your store. You can't just take off running. You know what I mean? So number 5 may not come into play at all in this situation. Because number 5 is the floater. Number 5 it's definitely the water. But now this guy's in a bad situation. He may be a goner because he did not take control of this situation. And this guy, as he's speaking, as in, oh, now it's a gunfight. No. He shouldn't be able to even get over there. And once that man pulls that back, as he's racking that AR, I'm putting rounds in him. As he's racking that AR, I'm putting rounds in him. Period.
Go, you got to get your gun out. Now, I know that we would certainly say we would rather not take a pistol to a rifle fight, that if the bad guy has a rifle, I'd much rather have a rifle and as many friends with a rifle as I can, but that's not always the fight you're going to get. You got to fight.
The drop is so important. Last video I just put out, I mentioned that. The drop is so important. The drop is everything. It is. The drop is everything. If you get the drop on him, you have control of the situation. But see, those five steps does that for you. It gives you that drop. It prepares you to get the drop, because that is the single most important part of avoiding a gunfight and staying alive. He didn't get the drop. He let this dude go up until the point where he's now he's ready to have a gunfight with you. He's even about to go take cover. You done killed yourself. It's all bad.
With what you got. So you're going to see the employee here on the right hand side. He drops down, and I love that he did that. Now, because again, concealment works as well as cover in 99% of CCW gunfights. Only thing I might recommend is not to go down and stay in the cover right where you're at. You want to move over and pop up in a different place if you possibly can. So one of the things Pat McNamara talks about is, being unpredictable. But he does get his gun up and in the fight, and you can see here that he does pop up and gets his gun up and on target. Now you got to be able to hit that shot. That's about a 10 to 12, maybe even a 15-yard shot there on a target that could conceivably shoot back at you. So you really need to know how
now
to take
you're
those
really in a bad situation, because your round from there can definitely go outside, and now you really don't know what's behind you. You want to talk about these hollow points and full metal jacket going through you and kill somebody behind? It doesn't matter what you got. You might not hit him from that distance. No matter what. I don't care if you have the greatest hollow points ever made, ever. You still have to be aware of what's beyond your target. Forget all that full metal jacket, hollow point stuff. Put a hole in his chest, but be aware of what's beyond your target no matter what you are shooting. Because he did not, obviously he doesn't know me, so he doesn't know my 5 rules, but because he did not follow those 5 rules that I just said, he not only is in a bad situation, if this guy wants to start shooting at him, he's done. Not only that, even if he wants to try to fight back now, he has a horrible backstop. Everything behind this guy is window, outside. People are out there. He's put himself in the worst situation you possibly could be in. This is horrible. It's maybe exactly not the worst situation. Worst situation you can possibly be in is on the ground dead. But, outside without bullets flying and you having a gun and he having a gun. Yeah, this is horrible. This is the horrible situation. So I just want to make this video and just kind of point those things out because it really did make sense for me to go over those 5 rules. Number 1, defensive profiling. Number 2, put yourself in the most ready position without escalating the situation. Number 3, take control of the situation. Number 4, de-escalate the situation. And number 5, get out of there. That is a floating number. That's a floating option. You may need it. You may never need it. You might need it in the beginning. You might need it in the middle. You might need it in the end, or you may never need it. It is definitely the water move. So that's that, you guys. Whammy out.